claiming that using the term white supremacy implies black people believe whites are superior. Jackie shuts that down clearly. She explains exactly what it means and what it does not mean. Jesse has no real counter to the historical record. This is the part that blows my mind. Jackie is delivering a history lesson in real time, and the response is essentially, I still do not understand what you mean.
But all I'm doing is following up on what you have said to get an understanding why you feel so uncomfortable.
Because it doesn't feel like we're having a conversation. It feels like it doesn't feel like we're having a conversation, and I feel uncomfortable that if when we put this in the world, it might not be clear what my point of view is.
No, you're very clear.
My point of view, so my point of view is not that white people are superior to me. My point of view is not that I'm afraid of black people in Chicago and that's why I moved. So far, there's 3 or 4 things that feel to me like we're not having a good understanding, and I'm not kidding. I'm not talking anymore until they stop the tape and we take a break.
Well, relax out. We'll just, and see if you still feel uncomfortable. Let me know, all right?
So far, I'm not going to do this right now. And I'm not kidding. I'm not talking until they stop the tape and we take a break. So I'm always grateful to come and talk to people about new ideas, and it's lovely to talk about my book. But this conversation does not feel comfortable. And to start a half hour late and for it not to be comfortable feels to me like it's not supposed to happen today.
Oh, so are you saying that you don't want to...
I'm saying I'm done today. I think I said it 3 times now. I'm not talking to you about this. If we want to try again, we can. I can send you questions that make me feel comfortable. So far as, am I afraid of black people? Nope. So far as, do I think white people are superior? Nope. So far, it doesn't feel like a good conversation.
I'm a little surprised to hear you say that, because you said that one of the problems with culture is that, and Republicans and Democrats, that they don't sit and agree and disagree and talk about things anymore. You said that they tend not to do that, and look like you're about to do the same thing.
I'm about to stop talking because I could go to any room in the world, any room in the country, any room. I also get to have the ferocious courage to say I'm not comfortable. So I'm not comfortable right now.
I know, but you're not showing ferocious courage by running.
I'm not running. I'm just not comfortable. And I'm not
What does that mean, you're not comfortable? I don't know what it means.
I think you know what it means. I think it means that I'm not comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's a good dialogue at this moment, and I would like to pause right now. We can try it again another time. I'd like that, but I can't do it right now. It doesn't feel comfortable to do it right now. Like the product isn't going to represent what I'm trying to say. It doesn't feel that way.
But you're clearly saying what you're trying to say, and I'm just getting a better understanding to understand. I mean, understand the culture better.
If we're going to do it again, then I would send questions that help you know what culture, what do I mean by white supremacy, what are the terms that I'm trying to use, and what's the message I'm trying to put in the world.
And this is where it gets layered. Jackie tells the producer to pause the tape. She says she is done. She is not comfortable. And Jesse pushes back by saying she is running. Now this moment deserves real analysis. Jackie said this, I also get to have the ferocious courage to say I am not comfortable. And Jesse fires back with, you are not showing ferocious courage by running. Here's what I find fascinating about that exchange. Jesse literally just watched Jackie spend several minutes delivering historically accurate, intellectually honest answers about white supremacy, indigenous history, and American identity. She was not flustered, she was not incoherent, she was sharp, precise, and clear at every single turn. So the idea that she is running because she cannot handle a conversation is not supported by anything we just watched. What Jackie is actually doing is something that more people in public conversation should do. She is saying, I came here to have a real dialogue, and what is happening does not feel like one. That is not weakness, that is self-awareness. And then Jesse tries one final move. He references an insurrection and deliberately names someone who had absolutely nothing to do with what Jackie said. Jackie's reaction says everything. She responds, this is exactly what I am talking about. Whatever this is not what we are doing. Jackie ends the conversation with this. What do I mean by white supremacy? What are the terms I am trying to use? And what is the message I am trying to put in the world? That line tells you exactly what she came to do. She came to build understanding, not to be cornered into sound bites. Yeah, and here's the thing that most people overlook. Being unwilling to continue a conversation that has gone sideways is not the same as being unwilling to have the conversation at all. Jackie offered to come back. She offered to send questions in advance. She wanted the dialogue. She just wanted it to be a real one. And that distinction, that is everything. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
You'll go on Jesse fucking Lee Peterson looks like that. Serious, honest, talking about literally everything.
So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
This is, yeah, l'espresso, absolutely cooked. It's a Italian, right? It's Italian magazine. It's Italian leftist.
Why do you support Donald Trump? A couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, most of it's economic. Number one is kind of his.
Italian magazines, Italian leftist. There's something missing from the Hassan Piker discourse. Hassan's fans and critics often overlook the most troubling fact about him. The core problem with Hassan Piker is that on a fundamental level, he doesn't believe in liberal democracy. I don't believe in liberalism. Yes, I'm a socialist. Like, I don't. Liberalism is objectively failing. Can we have a sincere conversation about that without you just being like, without you coming across like Steven Crowder and being like, you hate America and you love China, you love Russia. So it's virtually impossible to defend that. It's impossible to defend that action. It's impossible.
Everyone always asks the same question: who is the fastest bass player ever? And every time this discussion comes up, people become absolutely convinced they already know the answer. It's like religion. Nobody is debating. Everyone is preaching. You say fastest bassist, and immediately someone in the comment goes, obviously it's Flea. That's pretty fast. But then someone else shows up and says, no, the fastest bassist is Billy Sheehan. That's pretty fast. But then someone else shows up and says, no, the fastest bassist is Billy Sheehan.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. Most of the content on my channel is supported by generous patrons, but made available for free to the entire world. If you support that, please consider adding your support at patreon.com/atheistdebates. This clip, however, is from one of the mini programs that I do on YouTube on The Lines. And if you liked it, feel free to visit, like, subscribe, and watch The Line Network live. Thank you. Oh, it's from Wisconsin. Pastor LG's calling in from Wisconsin, Brother Jahian, who says, I'm calling about the topic, should we believe in God? I'm sorry, I'm just introducing you. But Pastor LG, welcome to the show. You're on with Jimmy and Matt.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
What's up?
How are you?
I'm all
You know, I just got introduced to your platform last week, and I just wanted to say that I'm out here proving that God is real with polygraph testing, evidence, and science.
Really? Because
Yeah.
hey, so part of the problem is that polygraphs, I don't know what you think they do, but they're definitely not ways of detecting the truth.
Yeah.
Yes, well, no man, well, I'm the first man in world history to prove that the polygraph test comes from the Holy Bible. Jesus Christ of the Holy Bible, who manifested to people, John 14:21, that Jesus Christ gives you information and knowledge to prove that
Oh my God,
he's real and material.
Also cheating
He says
on
it
the
was
rest of
just
the
a fucking
man.
Hang on.
rot.
I'm gonna put something equally irrelevant.
When you say polygraph, do you mean an actual polygraph device, or are you using Jesus as a metaphor for polygraph?
No, No. I'm proving that the polygraph test science that measures breath, sweat, and blood,
My God.
that science comes from the Holy Bible. 1 John chapter 5, verse 8. Breath,
I'm sorry, but
spirit,
I'm sorry.
Such an idiot.
So a polygraph is a measure of a number of different facets about the human condition, right?
Yes, but it comes from the Holy Bible.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't come to. Would you let me finish a fucking thought? Thank you.
No.
So the polygraph is a scientific measuring device.
No.
Where in the Bible does it give instructions for how to create a
The
polygraph?
Bible is the first polygraph. I'm not crazy.
Okay, I'm showing you the breakdown.
Totally saying irrational things for me to say.
Chapter 5, verse 8.
It tells you how to create a polygraph.
The Bible is
It tells you how to create a polygraph.
I have John Grogan, Dr. Polygraph examiner, knows that this time is real. I
No,
have
that's not. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening, Pastor LG. Where in the Bible does it tell you how to create a polygraph?
No, I can give you the Old Testament polygraph.
I'm sorry, Pastor LG. I think you're full of shit, and it's really annoying. Where in the Bible does it tell you how to create a polygraph?
It doesn't. It's not.
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. I'm gonna mute you now because you are incapable of doing this. The Bible doesn't tell you how to create a polygraph. So we discovered how to test for galvanic skin response and respiration and all kinds of things, and we put together a polygraph, a multiple graph. It is a scientific device that measures actual physical aspects of the human body, which you've already acknowledged. And when you acknowledged it, you then said that you were going to point to where the Bible shows how to make a polygraph, except that it doesn't do that. So, what is it that you'd like to claim that the Bible actually does, since it doesn't tell you how to make a polygraph? It doesn't tell you how to measure human skin response or breathing. What is it that the Bible, what is it you think the Bible's telling you to do?
Okay, can I speak freely? Because I didn't say that. I never said that the Bible showed you how to make a polygraph test. You did.
Okay. I'm going to unmute you again in a second. And we're going to start over. It's our birthday month. Tomorrow's Jimmy's birthday. You have obviously come in hot because you've been on hold for 49 minutes. And you're telling us that you're using, well, I still don't know if you're actually using a polygraph, what you think you're doing with it. The Bible doesn't mention or reference a polygraph at all, to my knowledge. So we're going to start over. Please recognize there's a slight delay. I'm going to unmute you, then I'm going to reintroduce you. And then we're going to let you make a case.
Oh, this is really just 'cause
pause or interrupt.
Matt
If you
got
say
interrupted
something
while he was
absurd or confusing
giving the
or something
introduction.
that needs definition, but we're
And he
going to
wants to go
start
back
this
and
whole
do it
call
again.
over again. So first I'm unmuting you. Then I'm going to say, I've unmuted Pastor LG from Wisconsin, Brunswick. He's starting off the topic of should we believe in God, and he says yes. So, Pastor LG, you're on with Matt and Jimmy. Why should we believe in God?
Hey, Matt and Jimmy. You should believe in God because everything that's happening in the earth right now is prophesied about. The curses from the God of the Bible that only come from the God of the Bible are still here. Jesus Christ of the Holy Bible truly existed, and it's documented in sources outside of the Bible.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pastor LG, you said that everything that's happening right now is predicted. Does that mean that you calling us was predicted?
Well, I'm speaking about worldwide events, wars and rumors of war. See, there's a war going on. Can
you point to any time in history where there weren't wars and rumors of wars?
Well, this is is the first time in history where there's a 200 million man army. Bricks.
I'm sorry. Can you point to any time in human history where there weren't wars and rumors of wars?
No, there's other things happening just that. I mean, you didn't let me finish. I mean,
I let you start. Hang on. No, Pastor, I let you start, and you started with something that simply wasn't true or accurate. You don't get to complain that I didn't let you finish when you started off poorly.
Well, this is Jimmy, correct?
No.
Matt. Matter. Okay, well, what I'm saying, Pastor, is that there's multiple things happening.
Wait a minute. Why are you calling me pastor? Is that just an admission that you're full of shit and you're a fraud? That you think you're so confused about who's talking? I don't know. I'm going to mute you and you're going to listen. You don't know if this is Jimmy or Matt. You don't know if I'm a pastor or not. You're the pastor. You're Pastor LG. You're the pastor. I'm Matt. Jimmy's Jimmy. Jimmy hasn't even got a chance to talk yet. Let's do that, because you're talking about wars and rumors of wars. You were talking about a polygraph, but you gave up on that line. And now you're talking about wars and rumors of wars, when there are entire websites devoted to all the failed end-time predictions. And for the entirety of my life, people have been making the exact same claim about every war, every rumor of war, nonstop, and all the predictions and everything else. What if I were just? I'm gonna unmute you in a second. I'm gonna let Jimmy jump in because I'm already completely bored of you because you can't even remember anybody's name or who's arguing with you.
You might regret it.
But no. I'll go to the bathroom or something.
I want to go back to the polygraphs.
Well, you can go back to the polygraphs. I don't know if our air quotes pastor is going to do that, but throughout the entirety of history, there's been the wars and rumors of wars and all this other stuff. There's not been any time. But I could sit here and say, you know what? I will grant you that now there are wars and rumors of wars, and right now it's a unique time, and I could say that it lines up perfectly with some passage in the Bible, and that still would not in any way demonstrate that the Bible accurately predicted it. It wouldn't demonstrate that there is a God. It wouldn't demonstrate that it predicted it because there's a God. It wouldn't do any of that, because prophecies need to be clearly presented and answerable by a single set of circumstances that aren't prone to interpretation. When the waiter brings me my medium rare steak, he's not answering prophecy. The number of times that people call in and go, oh, it's prophecy. I can grant every prophecy that every caller has ever called in about an actual event, and it wouldn't in any way prove that those prophecies are because of divine revelation. But I'm going to unmute you. And now, for no confusion, you won't be talking to Matt. Pastor LG will be talking to Jimmy. Here we go.
LG, what's up?
Hey.
It happens. Hey, Pastor LG, what model polygraph do you use?
Well, sir, again, we're proving that the science behind it comes from the Bible. Just like the Old Testament.
Wait. Do you use a polygraph machine? You started this with, I use a polygraph to prove God exists. Do you use a polygraph? Which is which one? Which is which one?
The one that uses the federal court, Better Business Bureau of Polygraph.
Right. But which machine have you used?
The same one John Grogan uses on the Dr. Phil show.
Sure. Which model? Like which manufacturer have you used?
You would have to ask him. I'm not the polygraph examiner.
Oh, so
I'm the Bible expert.
Got it. You're the Bible expert. Okay. So when you hook up a person? When you hook up a person to a polygraph machine, what questions do you ask?
They grab your truth-telling algorithm, No.
Which questions do you ask to the people you've been connecting to polygraphs to prove God exists?
No. I'm not a polygraph test examiner. Are you?
Okay. So to be clear, Pastor LG, your position is polygraph machines. First of all, you keep calling them a science. They're not a science. They're a tool.
No,
They are
it's a
also
science.
considered. Hang on.
Physiological science.
Physiological science is a science. Polygraph is a tool used for physiological scientific tests. You've been calling so I'm just giving you the mild correction. I don't know why you're rejecting it. Polygraph isn't. It'd be like me saying beakers are a science. No, chemistry is science. Beakers are a tool used in chemistry.
It's testing physiological responses.
Physiology is a science. Physiology is a science. Now, polygraphs are often used in court cases, and when used in court cases, they are the jury is advised on how unreliable they are. Do you know what else what else is often done with polygraph testing? They're thrown out of cases, and people opt not to take them. Generally, a polygraph is used as a person wants to go, I'll take a polygraph on top of my testimony so we can use that as evidence that I'm telling the truth. And again, that is weighted with the fact that they are unreliable. Now, you brought us to a scripture in John. No. This isn't.
Can I interject?
You sure can. You sure can. Hey, which? I told you you can't. Which version of the Bible do you use? The New International Version, King James? I'm gonna guess King James. Are you King James?
I read all Bibles in that polygraph test.
Right, but which one would you want? Which one would you like? Which one would you like me to read?
I'm asking, again, which you can use KJV 1611.
Great. I had a feeling KJV was the one that you would prefer. You sound like a KJV kind of guy.
I just said, I read all Bibles. I read all.
1 John 5:8. Excuse me. Yeah, that's great. 1 John 5:8 reads, and there are three that bear witness in earth, the Spirit and the water and the blood, and these three agree in one. How have you established that the Spirit? Great. How have you proven the existence? Since we're talking about science, and you're making an appeal to naturalism, what natural evidence do you have that the Spirit exists?
The Spirit exists because I also prove with polygraph tests. I've done a 40-day fast, and the water only after the proper baptism, just like Jesus, just like Moses. If you have not given up your food for 40 days, you can't eat one of the Bible stories. I can't. So again, there's many people who say, hey, I've been abducted by aliens. Well, guess what? I'm the guy proving that these beings are...
Hang on, I'm going to mute. Hey, Jimmy, probably one of our more knowledgeable Bible folks would have jumped in on the fact that what he's pointing to is one of the most disputed passages in the Bible. First of all, 1 John 5:8 is the Jonian comma, and the oldest and best manuscripts don't have the Trinity portion listed. So he's specifically decided to misrepresent. Here's the science behind polygraphs, and point to 1 John, which has nothing at all to do with it. And I suspect now that he's a troll trying to see if I was in fact familiar with the fact that he was going to cite one of the most disputed passages that is generally considered by biblical scholars to be an interpolation. So I just want to let you know that.
I don't even need the Bible anymore. So Pastor LG, excuse me, Pastor LG. Hey, Pastor LG, you made an appeal to science. Pastor, you made an appeal to science. We never have to talk about the Bible again because we're talking about science and the science of the Spirit. Literally, we need not the Bible at all for this conversation. So you said your evidence was an anecdote. Now, you, being the scientifically minded man, you are showing yourself, and thousands of people are seeing just how scientific you are, must know that what you've just described is plagiarizing author.
I never lost a debate.
Right. Yeah, Pastor LG, plagiarizing author, and debate extraordinaire.
Plagiarize author. I don't plagiarize.
Yeah, I think you misheard me. That's what I said. Okay, so.
Well, why are you calling it as Pastor LG? Why can't we look up your actual name so we can see what they plagiarized?
Pastor plagiarize. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't drop my book on your beautiful show unless you gave me permission. So.
You're using your real name, Pastor.
I drop your book in the same place I drop other things. Pastor plagiarized. Okay, so we don't do the Bible. You must be aware that anecdotes can be used to demonstrate data. So you can say, hey, we've done all of this research and this number of people are getting cancer. Now here are the anecdotes of that cancer to sort of demonstrate the point, but the data has to come before the anecdote. That's the only way anecdotal evidence serves any actual true purpose. Now you have tried to begin with an anecdote, claiming a 40-day fast, which, by the way, you don't know me. You don't know what types of fasts I've had to do because they were medically necessary. But anyway, you're claiming a 40-day fast, and you are claiming something we can't investigate. So being the very scientifically minded man that, of course, you clearly are for all of this terminology you're throwing out, you must know that this anecdote in isolation, without evidence, without proof, and without data to back it, that if I'm a scientifically minded person, great, where can I find the scientific proof that does not invoke your anecdote that the spirit, as a matter of physical, material thing, that can be measured by a polygraph, literally exists?
Yes.
Great,
Again,
go for it.
we have documentation from 2009,
Right.
2012, 2014, and 2021, all the way up. And again, the polygraph test proves that these events are real.
I'm sorry, they don't. I'm sorry. You just said documentation proven by a polygraph. I'm sorry.
The polygraph test is used in the courts. Your co-host
I'm sorry, Pastor. Okay, I gotta mute. Hey, Pastor LG. It wasn't my co-host who said that. It was me. I get it. I often can't tell white people apart either. Okay? But that was me who said it. And in fact, if you would remember, if you just rewind your brain for a second, the second part of it was that it is used in the courts and it is rejected by the courts. And when used in the courts, it is weighted by the judge instructing the jury on the unreliability of polygraph tests. So when you say it proves, we actually know that's factually untrue. In fact, there is documented evidence. There are documentaries about it. You can watch videos on that. A person can go into another room, perform an activity, come back out of the room, be put on a polygraph, be asked if they just performed that activity, lie, and say no, but the polygraph will say that they were not lying, that they were in fact telling the truth. In fact, polygraphs, when you intend to lie, become rather easy to fool. And then people who have certain mental tendencies, people who are used to lying, and then seemingly just a random group of people all are able to fool polygraphs and lie and be marked as truth. So in fact, Pastor, the evidence that you think exists doesn't, and what I asked you was data of the material existence, proof of the material existence of the spirit, and you are now saying, no, I don't have anything besides anecdotes that I say are confirmed by polygraph affirmed testimony. I am asking you, where can I measure, when I put a polygraph on, that the other end of a measurement that polygraph is giving me isn't coming from pulse, sweat, brain activity, if it's some crazy advanced one, but it is in fact interacting with a material thing that you are referring to as the spirit. Please, Mr. Plagiarizing Scientist. Pastor, sorry.
Plagiarized.
Dang, did I say that again?
But also, you are off of mute, but I'm going to interject since you can't tell us apart. By the way, polygraph tests are only admissible. I'm glad you love us. I don't love you. Polygraph tests are only admissible in cases if both the prosecution and the defense agree. Otherwise, they are not allowed as evidence. That's right from the Department of Justice's website. In federal cases, in federal trials, there are states that sometimes allow it, but they also come with a general disclaimer that they are not considered scientifically reliable. However, even if I were to grant you that a polygraph is scientifically reliable, in no way does the science for the polygraph come from the Bible. And now you can answer Jimmy's question of how does a polygraph test confirm that it's coming from the spirit?
Okay. Can I get 60 seconds without interruption?
Well,
No, I'm not
you
promising
could
anything
have,
like that,
you could have
Jesus.
if you decided to be a smug prick.
Yeah.
Instead of actually listening to the correction, and now you decided to start by saying, can I get 60 uninterrupted seconds? So
Yeah.
no, you can't get 60 uninterrupted seconds. You're actually muted right now. And I'm going to talk for 60 uninterrupted seconds. And then, because it's my show,
So
and
then
I'm
every
gonna
time I
kick
interrupt
out.
you, does that push his another 60 seconds?
By the way, can we get a poll up to see if this guy has lost a debate here tonight? Or how many debates he's lost here tonight? Right down to him calling me a liar about the joining comment, which anybody can go and actually look up. All right, so we're going to bring Pastor LG back, and Pastor LG is going to explain to us how we can tell that a polygraph is measuring the human spirit. So
And then I have a different question.
Again, yeah, that's a different question. I have the image of this being polygraph tested. If you're punched or have a physical altercation like Israel, Jacob in the Bible with an angel or an alien, you can draw them in polygraph test. So again, the polygraph test has
Wait. Did you say you can polygraph test a drawing of Jacob?
If the police ask you a question and say, give me a description of a being who committed a crime, they can draw it out for you.
Okay, so Pastor LG. I promise I have a great question
He
here.
just said that image can be polygraph tested.
Yeah.
How do you polygraph test an image, Pastor LG?
Or do you mean to say that you can polygraph test the individual who requested the image and confirm that they're telling the truth, that image represents the person?
No. The being who committed the crime. The police know how to draw descriptions. They do it in court. They do it with it's like visual descriptions. That's a photo proof. Can be polygraph tested. Was this person? Did you draw this person?
What can be polygraph tested? Are you saying you can polygraph? I can make a drawing, and I can polygraph test the drawing and ask the drawing if they committed a crime? Or are you saying
no,
you can polygraph the person who is describing the picture?
You know, I'm not. I can't handle you asking if you can finish one more time. You've been incredibly sloppy with your thoughts and your words from the start, and every time we ask you a question, you want to do the can I get a word in, can I finish? You're not fucking Ross Perot. You literally said, and we asked multiple times for clarification, I don't know if English is your first language or not, but you literally said that drawing can be polygraph tested. And Jimmy tried to give you an out and say, are you saying that you can polygraph the person who made the drawing or the person who referenced the drawing? But you said multiple times, you can rewind it. Go back and rewind. For all the people who think that this guy's never lost a debate, just rewind. He's lost multiples here tonight. So Jimmy, what question do you have for him again?
This is my last question for you, Pastor LG, because I think this brings us down to everything we need here. Pastor LG, let's grant, as Matt kind of started to earlier, let's say that you and I agree polygraphs are 100% accurate, that they always successfully mark whether or not the person is telling the truth. Okay, we're going to grant that to you even though I don't believe that. If I polygraph a person, and I ask them, was the shirt your mother wore yesterday red? And they say yes. Has the polygraph just proven that her shirt was red? Or has it proven that that person believes the shirt was red?
I'm unmuted.
It proves that they're telling the truth. The polygraph test.
No. That's not what I asked, Pastor. That's not what I asked. Because I agree. We just said, I'm granting you, they're about to tell the truth, as in the machine is not going to detect that they are lying, intending to mislead, that they are putting in the intention of saying the wrong answer. If I ask a person, was the shirt you wore yesterday red? And we'll get rid of the mom. Did you wear a red shirt yesterday? And they say yes. And the polygraph goes, cha-ching, that one was a good answer. No deception detected. Does that mean you have proved that the shirt was in fact red, or that the person, even very confidently, believes the shirt was red. Do you understand the distinction?
The polygraph, yes, but you have to let me speak. The polygraph test is not based on belief. I will debate both of you at the same time.
I don't have to let you finish, and you're gone.
It is 100% based on belief.
Yeah,
In as much as the polygraph ever works, it only tells what the person genuinely believes. When they aren't being deceptive, when they aren't so, if I believe something is wrong, like I wore a red shirt yesterday. Ironically enough, I actually did wear a red shirt yesterday. But let's say I hadn't, I wore a blue shirt yesterday. If you ask me that question and the polygraph is actually working and I fit the model of the person that polygraphs react accurately to, and I say yes, and it says I told the truth, but I actually wore a blue shirt the day prior, it does not know that. It says, yes, he told the truth. He wore a red shirt yesterday. And even that's even weighted in courtroom testimonies. In saying, like, just so you know, at best, this is what a person believes they saw, believes happened. And we've seen that shit break down. We've seen people be positive. Somebody committed a crime. Finger them in court. And then later we find out there was camera or DNA or something. And they proved it, in fact, wasn't the person that very confident person said was doing it.
Plus, you can be trained to beat the lie detector. You can be trained to beat a polygraph. And also, it's contingent on whether or not, in some cases, you're a sociopath. But let's get on. We've got more callers, and you know what? I bet you he counts that as winning 2 debates, or 4 debates, or 5 debates. Good job, Pastor LG.
Somewhere he has a bio that says...
Me.
Somewhere he has a bio that says, if you block me, I win.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that comment.
Oh, Moist Critical has some
We are back yet again. There's already been another Israeli reaching out.
But when a child dies of leukemia,
Could there be a purpose to it?
did God command the ethnic cleansing of the land of Israel?
I'm not saying the scribe made something up. I'm saying the scribe has a command.
So where did they get that command
From God.
I had Jesus appear to me 3 years ago.
I don't know what's happening now. I have to suspect it's some kind of psychological phenomenon.
Hi, my name's Alex O'Connor.
In Casino, Tony and Michael's. All right, Knights of the...
What's the strangest thing that fans ever asked you to do?
A man in the KKK came up to me and said, you know, Charlie, I usually hate you. Ever since that Dave Chappelle show came on, you and Dave Chappelle made you and brother love me with. I'm never going to forget it.
What you waiting for, Cool Breeze? Get a buck naked right now. Get it off, son.
Charlotte, what would you say was your favorite memory of being a bodyguard?
My favorite memory of being a bodyguard.
Whose army is that?
Yabushige's. All loyal to Toranaga-sama.
Let's hope so.
Our world is safer. Our world is safer because of the U.S. and Israel action.
Don't disrespect, but just to repeat, you don't care?
I think it's a distraction.
God bless freedom of speech. God bless freedom of religion on public.
I think it's a distraction.
The Bible is the most
Guys, remember last night when, like, at night?
As he always does so graciously on a Monday, taking time from his busy schedule for work, hardest work in the game.
From the coach from Fox News. Who's this? Who we got? Oh, this Fox and Friends? Jesus. Okay, get ready for Brian Kill Me. This is like the latest one. Epic Fury. Latest non-response after Strait of Hormuz blockade. Okay. That was really, after we emphasized those words heavily. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's Fox and Friends. Okay, prepare yourself. It's Fox and Friends. Level 5 cognito hazard.
Alright, let's start with Operation Epic Fury. In less than 3 hours, the U.S. will begin enforcing a naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz after peace talks with Iran fell through after 21 hours over the weekend.
Lucas Tomlinson's in Pakistan, where those talks were being held, and he joins us now. Hey, Lucas.
Good morning, Ainsley. Good morning, guys. These talks here in Islamabad that were held over the weekend were the highest level between the U.S. and Iran in nearly half a century. Vice President J.D. Vance offering what their officials are calling his final offer to the Iranians, which includes some red lines, that has been taken back to Tehran. And perhaps President Trump upping the ante now, saying he's going to put a blockade on Iranian ports in the Strait of Hormuz if they don't reach a deal. Here's the president of the Maria Bartiromo yesterday.
I would say it's holding well. Their military is destroyed. Their whole Navy is underwater. You know that 158 ships are gone. Their Navy's gone. Most of their mine droppers are gone. We have a lot of people. As you know, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we have a blockade going into effect. That'll be 10 o'clock tomorrow. Other nations are working so that Iran will not be able to sell oil, and that will be very effective.
I love how they put him in a little hat at night so you can't see that he doesn't have his hair on. It's very drama queeny. It's like if you had a Tyra Banks as the president sometimes, when Donald Trump is the president.
So that's 10 a.m. Eastern, guys, about 3 hours from now. For that blockade, U.S. Military Central Command says the blockade will be enforced impartially against vessels of all nations entering or departing Iranian ports and coastal areas, including all Iranian ports on the Arabian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. CENTCOM forces will not impede freedom of navigation for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz to and from non-Iranian ports. A message to the Gulf states there. And the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps responding harshly, saying, quote, contrary contrary to the false claims of certain enemy officials, the Strait of Hormuz is open for the passage of non-military vessels under smart control and management in accordance with specific regulations. Now, as both sides seek an off-ramp to the war, talks are expected to continue. Time and place TBD, guys. And over the weekend, a pair of U.S. Navy guided missile destroyers sailed through the Strait of Hormuz here in Islamabad after advances.
That did not happen. Unless new information has come out, that did not happen. They lied about that happening, but that did not happen. We were covering it.
With the Iranians after more than 21 hours face-to-face. Officials tell Fox, including in the final offer, are 6 red lines. I'll read a few of them. Iran must end all uranium enrichment, dismantle all major nuclear enrichment facilities, retrieve that highly enriched uranium, and I'll skip down to the 6th one, fully open the Strait of Hormuz, charging no tolls for passage. Now, Pakistan mediated the talks, guys, but make no mistake, Pakistan is not Switzerland.
It's crazy. Some of this stuff was never on the table, right? Some of this stuff was never on the table. Like, in funding for terrorist proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Iran was not going to do that. Even if they pretend like they were going to do it, they're not going to stop, obviously. Except a broader peace, security, de-escalation framework that includes regional allies, I can only assume that means, like, allowing Israel to hunt your people for sport and use your country as, like, an open-air prison. So, like, that's not going to happen. Retrieve enriched highly... The enrichment stuff, either not going to happen or you already had it and threw it away. So, like, it's all stupid. And then when it comes down to the fully open the Strait of Hormuz, that you shouldn't even be talking about because that's all your fault. Like, the way they talk about that as though, like, that wasn't the case before is, like, so bananas wild. It's so, like, they will just pretend like the strait has been closed for, like, years and Trump is finally doing something about it. It's like, no, come on.
Mediated the talks, guys, but make no mistake, Pakistan is not Switzerland. Last year, they signed a major defense pact with Saudi Arabia, and over the weekend, Pakistan deployed forces to Saudi Arabia. Why? Should Iran launch more attacks against Saudi Arabia, it will initiate that pact. It could be a response from Pakistan. So once again, countries in the region are upping the ante and want to see a deal made between the United States and Iran, guys.
Look, it's impossible to know what every Gulf state feels. I understand that. But for the most part, the word we're getting is that they want us to finish the job. Even though they had 72 attacks in various states at their energy centers, they paid a price, but they don't want us to stop without finishing the job. Do you get that?
Well, you know what they should do? I think that they should get over it. And then once we surrender to Iran, I think what Saudi Arabia and our Gulf allies in Israel they can do, they can go on their, like, stages and they can go, death to Iran, death to Iran. They can just, like, sit on it and spin. Like, and no one can stop. Well, I guess I would say they have free speech, but they don't have free speech in Saudi Arabia or Israel. So, like, but I'm sure they'll be allowed to say that. So they can say death to Iran all they want, and it'll just be fine. It'll be fine.
Centers, they've paid a price, but they don't want us to stop without finishing the job. Do you get that sense too?
Absolutely, and Brian, the damage to some of those oil and gas refineries is going to take years to replace. And while many of the Gulf states are using overland oil pipelines to shift oil, like in Saudi Arabia and UAE, which I was in last month, that's not peak capacity using those pipelines. They do want to end it, but let's face the political realities on the ground. The price of gasoline back in the United States is over 40% was at the beginning of the war. Both sides, the United States and Iran, are seeking an off-ramp to this war, and talks will continue at a later date, guys.
Okay, thank you so much. We are just a few hours away from this. Donald Trump says the blockade will happen at 10 a.m. That's 5:30 p.m. Iranian time. That means to block the Iranian ports and the coastal areas. Iran has responded with threats on ports in the Persian Gulf and in the Gulf of Oman. And they're saying this on television. The Republic of Iran broadcasting is saying no port in the region will be safe.
Well, so if they're going to do this and have control of the Strait in this way, then everybody's going to say, if this is going to be a global market, then globally everyone is going to have to suffer. Hopefully China and Russia, as a result of this, and maybe even Japan, because they're supposed to be our ally, but they're not helping, by the way, as well. They will call the Iranians and tell them, open it up for everyone. But to Brian's point, they've laid all these mines, and because they're so incompetent in everything that they do, they don't even know where the mines are. So,
you know what I love about Fox and Friends? Is that if you are like a neurologist or somebody who deals with people, like is a sports medicine expert, and you deal with people who might have some kind of traumatic brain injury, TBI, like with Ainsley Earhart and Brian killed me, and I'm so sorry to say this because I don't remember his name, but like the black one, who's on this show too, you can really kind of simulate the like 3 stages of a concussion. You can like Ainsley is like stage 1 concussion, the black guy is like stage 2 concussion, and like the white guy, Brian killed me, is, what's his name? Just none of you are saying his name. Yeah. Brian killed me is like stage 3 concussion. Lawrence?
The ultimate trump card. He totally flipped the script. We'll decide who gets in and make them pay extortion rate. Nobody gets in or out. And then who's going to pay the price first? He says, if you can, you guys will be deep in talks with them.
It will call the Iranians and tell them, open it up for everyone. But to Brian's point, they've laid all these mines, and because they're so incompetent in everything that they do, they don't even know where the mines are. So this gives the president an opportunity, our military to reset, our guys and gals to get some rest, and now they can go back to the battlefield.
Are we able to sweep the whole strait, Brian?
Sure. And the British evidently are sending minesweepers. They got great minesweepers, but they were defenseless. So we have to provide the defense because they were flat bottoms, and so we have to provide the defense. What we have is the best of both worlds. We're sending in armed ships into the strait. I just love the message. We're knee deep in talks with them in the middle of a ceasefire, and then we send 2 destroyers through there to pick up the mines they dropped. And they say, "Well, no, you're not supposed to go through. We're going through anyway." And guess what? They didn't hit any mines. Does that give the barges, the super tankers, a green light to say, you know, maybe we're just going to do it? But now no one gets through. I mean, this is the ultimate trump card. He totally flipped the script. We'll decide who gets in and make them pay extortion. Wait. Nobody gets in or out. And then who's going to pay the price first? He says, if you can, you guys want, if you got some oil, lay it off over in Texas. Right. Come over here, you can lay it, and you want some, pick it up, because we've got natural gas too, so maybe you want to head that way. And China, I can't wait for the first Chinese ship to pull up, empty, hoping to get oil, and being told you can't get in. That's when China puts the pressure to say to Iran, change things.
Yep. And don't, is it, I think it's next month where our president meets with President Xi. So if this is not allowed in, that is going to be an interesting in-person conversation.
It's tough. We need the strait open completely. We don't need them to charge ships to travel through. Can't happen.
Then why did you do this?
Uranium. We need to make sure they're not creating ballistic missiles that could travel, intercontinental missiles. Which it seems we have destroyed a lot of their navy, a lot of their ships are down at the bottom of the Strait of Hormuz. So there has been success here, and the ultimate goal, remember, was so that they do not have nuclear weapons.
Right. I know it's hard to do, but if you listen to almost 90% of the commentary, they act like we're losing.
Oh, yes.
We have totally destroyed a country that can't even communicate with each other, and now we're in.
That's right.
There's a 2-week
Don't believe your eyes and your ears.
They're tweeting at us.
Just believe us.
They're like, do
what we tell you.
Parliament is tweeting at us all the time. And Bigal Abbas, Arachi, like. and not only are they tweeting at us, we know that they have capabilities to communicate even without electric. Like they planned for all of this. This is crazy. It's crazy listening to this. You guys got distracted by my like racism, but
commentary. They act like we're losing.
Oh, yes.
We have totally destroyed a country that can't even communicate with each other. And now we're in 10 days. There's a 2-week ceasefire. We're taking a look now and seeing what's left. But they have 32 separate command structures. They have not even been able to communicate to all 32. They're going to keep rocketing until they realize there's no replenishment. And before the war started, they had no water. They have a worthless currency. That was before the war started. What do you think they're doing now? Think about that for a second. And most of their leadership is dead.
My God.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Yeah, Brian killed me because he's named after what your brain cells say when they listen to him. I'm sorry. That was literally, I told you this segment was going to be rude. Okay. Let's just do one more Fox News clip because. Yeah, I'm feeling emboldened. I'm feeling emboldened by Trump to be more racist. This is the Mark Levin show, and the reason we're watching the Mark Levin show is because like Trump is watching the Mark Levin show, and so I do think, you know, I've criticized spending too much time like overestimating like the importance of stuff like this, but Trump is watching this, like, and so I believe like Trump is being convinced of these arguments. So I guess I think it behooves us to hear what Trump is hearing about this particular circumstance. Like, I mean, like the likelihood of success from the blockade. But I do admit that if like Mark Levin gets too much, we'll just turn him off, because you know how Mark Levin can be.
Welcome back, America. We're here with the expert of experts, retired 4-star General Jack Key. General, we know that the Iranians were not interested in making a deal. We know that the President of the United States had multiple red lines, and very, very important red lines, but she put out in the first place. So they come to this negotiation, and they don't sound like they came to this negotiation with the idea of giving up. What do you make of all this?
Because you surrendered. What? Because you... Oh... This is why Trump doesn't know that he surrendered, I guess. Because we surrendered. That was the United States surrendered. That was the predicate for that meeting. That we accepted their 10-point plan, which constituted basically total surrender. Well, correct. Not total surrender, because like total surrender would probably have us turning over Trump and J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth and a few of our like high-ranking generals for like punishment to Iran.
Yeah, I take that.
I can't say that I agree with doing that. I just think that that would be what total surrender would look like. And so if you got there and they were like, hey, we thought that you totally surrendered, you're like, wait, no, actually, we thought you did. I don't know why you would think that you were in the right, because you're the one who put out well, not Mark Levin, but Trump's the one who put out the tweet who said we accepted 10-point plan. And frankly, I do believe that Trump would surrender. Like, I think Trump doesn't really care so much about it. Like, he doesn't care about the details of the plan that he signed. He just wants it to be over. He just doesn't want to be, like, called a loser and someone who's surrendering. But that might just not be in the cards. It's, you know, something that abuse enablers don't like to admit. Sometimes it's just not good to enable the delusions of an abuser just because, like, it keeps the peace. And a lot of people just want you to enable the delusions of Donald Trump because it keeps the peace, even if it ultimately isn't the best long-term thing. And so it just maybe not in their best interest to actually enable the delusion from the Trump administration that, like, okay, you get to call this a victory. Like, you might just have to lose.
Yeah, well, I think they likely came in with the idea that because of the pressure of the Straits of Hormuz, that we would make some concessions and bend to their will a little bit. I think they're pretty naive. It's not the first time, you know, they miscalculate on American resolve and determination, particularly as it's associated with this president, who has a history of not taking any nonsense from them. So we're not surprised. They may be a little surprised. And listen, we gotta get rid of this fiction that Galibov and the foreign minister and others that we're dealing with are not of the ilk of the previous leaders. I mean, clearly the other leaders led for a length of time, but you're all the same. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah, the regime is still in charge.
IRGC, Ahmad Bahidi, they are from the same stripe. They are hardcore, theoretic, tyrannical, brutal regimists. That's who they are.
This dude is like literally dying in front of us, right on death, right? This is the Fox News audience itself, too. This is like the Fox News audience, and Trump is part of that. This is like the only people who do that.
Tyrannical, brutal regimists. That's who they are. And this guy Galibov, you know who his best friend in life was growing up? Qasem Soleimani. And they joined the IRGC together. And they've been helping each other throughout their careers until such time as Qasem Soleimani was taken down by the Trump administration. So we shouldn't be that surprised, you know, that they're not taking a deal. Because they're hardliners and they expect us to fold in here. And we're not folding. And the good news is I respect all the negotiators there, but our backstop, our number one backstop, who I'm confident they were talking to, is President Trump. And he's not going to take a bad deal here from these guys. So on the table certainly was number one issue, nuclear. You do not enrich uranium. You give up all the enriched uranium you have. You give that up to us, or you give it up to somebody else, and we have inspectors there to verify that we're taking it out. And then all of your nuclear facilities that you have, now we've been bombing some of those. I understand that, Mark. But all of those nuclear enterprises that you still have, they have to be dismantled, and that has to be verified. And then there's got to be, not stated in the deal there to us, but certainly on the table, is anytime, anywhere inspection. And why is that? Because you can't trust these guys. I mean, they lie and they cheat.
Up is down,
That's
left is
just
right.
reality.
You know, Trump likes to assault women. Like
on the table was you're going to have to make a deal so that there's peace in the region with the Arab allies and ourselves. This is the vehicle for it. And you're no longer going to support your proxy. What brought us to this point with the Israelis and the Americans is after the 12-day war, we recognized through intelligence that the Iranians recommitted to all of their maximalist goals. After that, and after Midnight Hammer, that shut down most of their nuclear enterprise. And what does that mean? They began to accelerate the building of ballistic missiles under the ground. And China was helping them do this, and they were doing it at a speed.
Well, they did it because Trump tore up the Obama-era JCOS, right? Like the bill that he got with them, where they were under the purview of the International Nuclear Regulation Agency, right? That's like the name of them, right? But that, you know what I mean? Like the one that is in charge of like inspecting stuff like that. They like had a deal. Trump was just so embarrassed by that deal that he tore it up. JCPOA. I was thinking POS again. I was thinking Trump is a POS again. Excuse me. Yeah, the JCPOA. We had that deal, and it was fine. Like, it was a good deal, right? To be fair, it was a good deal in a more, like, I guess, agnostic sense if you want to accomplish this goal, right? Was it good for Iran? Should they have been actively trying to get a nuclear weapon? I think it's hard not to say no now, but, like, for what the United States they claimed to want superficially, it was a good deal, right? And, funny enough, Trump was even able to rip it up, and because of how just, like, you know, I guess, like, open the former Ayatollah was to negotiating with the West, he was able to get an even more restrictive deal. But then we did these strikes. And so, like, ultimately, we had the deal that was good. We had the deal that was even great by our own, like, ostensible goals, right? The problem with both of those deals is that they don't suit Israel's best interest, right? And in not suiting Israel's best interest, that means that they don't suit the interest of the most hawkish of our neoconservative project. Whether they're hawkish because they're Christian evangelical Zionists, whether they're hawkish because they are just explicitly pro-war, anti-Muslim. There are a lot of overlapping interests, and you should never forget, there are a lot of overlapping interests that keep us at war in the Middle East. They're going to try to make it all about like Christian evangelical Zionists or like Israelis or things like that, but there are so many different types of people who range from true believer, like in the Christian evangelical or Jewish supremacist Israeli project, that, you know, is being encompassed, like, you know, to broadly speaking, like Western ethno-nationalist project that is being broadly encompassed by what's going on in the Middle East. There are just like military-industrial complex people who like, oh, I don't necessarily care about like, you know, how I make this money, but I want to make this money. But a lot of interested are invested in ensuring that Iran doesn't become a stable member of the community, because that just makes it harder for them to attack. That makes it more difficult for us to like sell weapons and missiles that can be used for decapitation strikes. It just has never been in the best interest of Israel or the most hawkish elements of our neoconservative project to like have Iran be a welcome member of the international community. They want them to be either a boogeyman that can be used to like keep the West at bay or whatever, or they want them to be like a failed state, a la like Libya, you know, a la like Syria, things like that. Because that makes it so that they can always be a boogeyman, but never quite reach the level where they become like a real serious regional like actor, right? Because Iran isn't like other places that like they get compared to, at least where they are right now. Obviously, they've been bombed to dust by, not bombed to dust, I keep using the Trump administration term, but they've been bombed quite heavily over the past month and been previous to that. And they've faced quite heavy financial restrictions from the United States and our allies in NATO. But if they get their way after this particular conflict, that will, not change overnight, but certainly the amount of money they'll be taking in from tolls in the Strait of Hormuz, the amount of power they will have internationally will allow for them to negotiate better deals bilaterally with countries apart from the United States. And so, if they get their way, it will represent something that Israel wants even less than a nuclear-armed Iran. In fact, they would way prefer a nuclear-armed Iran over an Iran that is a big financial and global player in the world, a bigger player than Israel is if you extricate them from the United States, which you really can't practically speaking. But in terms of what their financial might would mean in the region, they would just be a bigger player than Israel would be. It'd be harder to break up the Shia Crescent. It would definitely not be possible to go to war with Turkey afterwards, because they don't want peace in the Middle East, obviously.
That alarmed the intelligence services, and that's only got the attention of Prime Minister Netanyahu and our president as well. They started, Mark, funneling money through different networks to the proxies, hundreds of millions of dollars. They changed it. What central banks they were using. They were passing it through Istanbul as the last place to pass it through. So their support for the proxies and their determination to use the proxies to help destroy the state of Israel hadn't changed one bit. And they made a decision to recover their nuclear program, but they had not made a decision to execute it yet, because they knew full well we were watching all of it. But the commitment to recover it was made. And you put all that together, plus the increase in drone development, and we knew full well it was just a matter of time that the regime would have a nuclear weapon capability, and also using all of their conventional means, as they have done before, to destabilize the region. So that clear-eyed thinking on the part of the Prime Minister and our President said, enough is enough. We have got to go after this and stop it once and for all. And that is kind of where we are right here.
Yeah, that's where we are right here. No need to look into it any further, because the price of oil, as a result of this news, has already gone up, right? Here we go. Oil prices surge as Trump vows to block the Strait of Hormuz.
Of course, two main stories dominating the business news today, so we've brought it up a little bit in the running order. Camille Knight is joining me here on tape. Camille, talks between the US and Iran ending without a deal. Instead, President Donald Trump announcing he's going to blockade those ports. What's been the impact of that?
Well, as you can imagine, it's sent oil prices right back up, with tanker traffic at a halt again ahead of that 10 a.m. Eastern Time blockade. US crude oil jumped nearly 8% to $104 per barrel, and the international benchmark Brent jumped nearly 7% to $102 per barrel. It's not quite at levels it reached after Trump threatened to wipe out Iran's civilization, but the price had plunged last Wednesday after Washington and Tehran agreed to a conditional 2-week ceasefire. If you look at the past 3 months, it's clear prices have been particularly high since late February compared to normal levels, hovering around that $100 mark. They're unlikely to come down before the Strait of Hormuz is permanently reopened and a ceasefire endures. Asia has been disproportionately affected due to its heavy reliance on Middle Eastern countries for oil and gas. Markets trading lower this Monday, the Hang Seng and Kospi trading down at around 1%. European stocks too starting the week lower as investors digest the breakdown of negotiations over the weekend. The DAX down nearly 1.5%. Francis Garand also down. Certainly investors will be looking at developments of the blockade later today.
So talk us through then why Donald Trump wants to blockade the Strait of Hormuz that he's been calling, of course, to reopen.
That's because until now it's not been entirely closed. Iran, you'll remember, has struck deals with a few countries like India and Malaysia, allowing some tankers through in exchange for a toll of up to $2 million per ship. Those paying Iran a toll now won't be allowed through. But more importantly, Iran has been exporting its own oil through the strait, about 90% of it going to China. It's managed to sell about 1.85 million barrels of crude a day through the month of March, which is 100,000 barrels more than in the previous 3 months. Now, what that looks like in revenue It's about $159 million a day, so it's a crucial part of Iran's military funding. And of course, because it's all Iranian ports that Trump is saying will be blocked, that means all other imports will be impacted as well. Exports will be impacted as well, including petrochemicals and non-oil products too. The reason Trump hasn't done this already is that blocking the strait to any oil, even Iranian, causes the price of oil to surge like we're seeing now again. The Trump administration had been trying to keep the price down, even granting a temporary license for Iran to sell oil that had been sitting on tankers, effectively dropping sanctions for months. So the US adopting a drastically different approach there, possibly trying to strengthen its negotiating position, but of course at a cost for the global economy.
Well, another big top story of the day, of course, as we brought you the top is the election.
Yeah. So the price of oil has gone up again, not as high as it could be, right? And I mentioned it before, and I'll keep mentioning it. It can absolutely go higher. In fact, some people are saying that it's not even as high, including the President of the United States of America is saying that it's not even as high as it should be. And a lot of that people have speculated is due to the needs of the industry, the various industries that power in America, specifically the AI industry needing cheap energy in order to be functional at all. And so there's this vested interest in the market of keeping some of these prices like lower than maybe they would be organically if people were panicking as much as they, maybe want to panic. But who knows if this blockade will have that impact. I am of the impression that it just won't be for very long, but we'll turn to some of the other oil price stories as a result of this. Let's watch this statement from the Iranian parliament speaker, MP Ghalibaf. Iran's parliament speaker says U.S. will be nostalgic for $4 gas as oil prices fuel inflation. Crazy.
Tonight, U.S. stock and oil futures are set to open amid new uncertainties in the Middle East. And then there is this. Iran's top negotiator and Speaker of Parliament took to social media warning Americans that, quote, soon you'll be nostalgic for $4 to $5 gas. President Trump right now headed back to Washington after spending the weekend.
Oh my God. And he added a map of like gas prices. Oh, every dollar box is crazy on Twitter. Like every dollar box is crazy on Twitter. They're gonna ban him. They're gonna ban him too.
In Florida, and CBS's Torian Small is in to rouse. So Torian, good evening to you. With peace talks off, what happens next? Good evening, Donald. President is saying that blockade will stop Iran from selling oil, but also acknowledged high energy prices could continue.
Look, regardless, we win. Regardless what happens, we win.
President Trump downplayed the significance of the talks with Iran as he made his way down to Miami yesterday, just hours before negotiations collapsed. As the situation in the Strait of Hormuz is sending global energy costs skyrocketing, AAA reports the price of a gallon of regular spiked 40% since the day before the war began. The president said in an interview Sunday that prices could remain high through November.
So do you believe the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
25.
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be the same or maybe a little bit higher. But,
Did you see Maria Bartiromo's face? Like the way she looked when he said that? Like, oh man, she looked like she got slapped. She looked shocked.
If the price of oil and gas will be lower before the midterm elections?
I hope so. I mean, I think so. It could be the same or maybe a little bit higher. But it should be around the same. Higher. It should be around the same.
Higher oil costs are fueling a surge in inflation, according to a March report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. CBS polling shows the president's approval rating on his handling of inflation is down to 31%. Poll also found no significance in gas prices.
Okay, got all the shields from them.
So I'll go the extra 10, 15 minutes.
Cabbages.
Less for now.
Democrats blame the administration.
Gas in Virginia was $2.81
Slab,
20 days ago. It is
carrots.
over $4 now. Even if, damn, it's not
Crazy. And they just put one of those like suction devices in the front corners of the mouth and some streets. Crazy. Like, it's just like,
was $2.81 40 days ago. It is over $4 now. Even if the President declares victory tomorrow, those high gas prices will be with us for months. Republicans caution Iran is still a threat.
No one is willing to trade lower gas prices for Iran to come in with their state.
I think most Americans are.
Lawmakers return to Washington tomorrow. They're expecting supplemental requests to fund this war on top of the $1.5 trillion defense spending budget request for next year. Tom?
Oh, they return already? Oh, you know some people are really big, bad, and yes. There are quite a few Democrats and Republicans that are like, you were supposed to be boots on the ground by the time we got back, mister. Like, you were supposed to be out there with boots on the ground by the time we got back, so we could be just really disappointed in you, but then rubber stamp it with what the troops, gotta get the troops what they need, gotta get the troops, like guns that can shoot walls, shoot the legs off children and shit like that. But now we're doing this blockade stuff, which is incredibly stupid. But let's hear some more about this record gas prices that we're about to experience that we're nostalgic for, according to the dollar law. It's such a opposite side.
The American economy would come to an immediate halt without the trucking industry. But this industry is under tremendous pressure due to rising fuel prices. To get a better idea of that impact, let's go for a ride. Steve Fowler of Virginia owns a fleet of 35 flatbed trucks used to haul construction materials and other freight. He says his diesel bill is up more than 50% since the start of the war.
Last month we spent $97,000 in fuel. That was the month of February. In the month of March, we spent $147,000.
That's a big jump.
Yes, it's a huge jump.
American truckers move 72% of the nation's freight, connecting ports to factories to warehouses to store shelves. But the industry has been in recession since 2024, and many say the diesel spike is only making things worse. So with this rising fuel prices, how are you coping as a business?
At the end of the day, the consumer's the one that pays for it. However, it does cause a lot of problems within the industry.
Guess we'll just send the same shit. Just double up on their food.
We find more long haulers at a highway rest stop. This driver is from Florida on his way to Texas. I asked if he holds Donald Trump's decision to go to war on his way to Texas. I asked if he holds Donald Trump's decision to go to war responsible for the higher gas prices.
That's a hard one. I mean, if you have to start a war, you end up having to start a war. I don't know if he had to or didn't, but I know that I definitely blame the war for the gas prices.
Trump has fashioned himself as a friend to blue-collar workers and even invited truckers to the White House during his first term.
No one knows America like truckers know America.
What truckers know at the moment is that one-day supply of fuel costs well over $200.
Every day.
And oil experts predict the price will remain high for months due to a loss of production in Gulf states, bringing the pain of a distant war home to America's highways. Heidi Jo Castro, Al Jazeera, King George, Virginia.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Alright, y'all, this story right here is kind of bittersweet. It's bittersweet. It's like the definition of bittersweet. Because you can't say that we didn't warn you. You can't say that there weren't a lot of people sounding the alarm, screaming through a bullhorn, like, hey dog, let's not fuck around. Trump's gotta lose these, okay? He has to. It is just, he is so far gone that, you know, if he gets another crack at power, he's so radicalized and so extreme now that this is gonna make his first term look like a fucking cakewalk compared to what he's about to do in the second term. And it turned out that correct. But now we have some CNN polling that just came out, and it shows that the American people are having massive buyer's remorse about Donald Trump, and they're low-key yearning for a Kamala Harris presidency. They wish Kamala Harris was currently in the White House. So we have Harry Enton breaking it down here. Let's take a look.
Choice for the 2024 presidential election. The actual was Donald Trump winning by about 1.5 points. It rounds to a point. But take a look here. In a poll redo between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in April of 2025, it was within the margin of error, right? Kamala Harris by a point. But look at where we are now, according to an NBC News Survey Monkey poll. Kamala Harris wins in a redo, asking folks, essentially, if you could redo the 2024 election, how would you vote? She wins it by, get this, 8 points. A massive shift from what we saw back in November of 2024 when Donald Trump won by a point. And I will note that this sample was weighted to the 2024 result in which Donald Trump won by a point, but yet Kamala Harris in this weighted sample, get this, she wins by 8 amongst the sample that voted for Trump by 1.
So now, meanwhile, let me break that down a little further for you. That means they are massively underestimating what the actual number is right now. They're weighting it to assume the poll is biased in a pro-Democrat direction. So they give the Republicans a couple baked-in points, okay? But I would submit to you, it's the exact opposite now, where every poll that we're seeing, even the ones that have Democrats plus 16, even that is too weighted in a Republican direction. Because now you got people coming out of the woodworks in the electorate who are like, I don't even motherfucking vote, but I'm about to vote this time against the Republicans because I'm so disgusted by what this country has become. Okay? So if they have her plus 8 and they weighted the poll, that means in reality it's probably like Kamala plus 12 in this bitch. That she would win in a goddamn landslide. Okay? We'd be talking about well over 300 electoral college votes. And by the way, that's to say nothing about, we interviewed Greg Palast, the legendary investigative reporter, and he claims, look, they cheated. Republicans cheated. They did ballot spoiling and ballot purging, and they used old Jim Crow laws on the books in many states. And basically, they stole from Kamala. He says Kamala basically won in 2024, but it was rigged. That's what he says. You can go watch that interview. You can determine for yourself. But based on everything we're hearing now, whatever the margin was then, right now it would be just gargantuan more than that. That people are like, holy shit, what do we get ourselves into? This is fucking crazy. Witnessing what Trump is doing. So this, by the way, this stings for Trump in the same way. What poll did we show you the other week? That when you ask who's a better president, Trump or Biden right now, Biden wins by 8 points. The guy who literally couldn't talk for the last 2 years of his time in office is now Draxin them sklounced when it comes to Trump. So for Biden to be up by 8, barely hanging to life by a thread, for Kamala to be up by, in reality, probably more than 8, probably 10 or 12, okay? That just goes to show you, what do we always say? Go ahead, let Republicans run wild, let them do whatever the hell they want to do. Hey, guess what, assholes? You have the House, you have the Senate, you have the judicial branch, you have everything. Go ahead, go buck wild, let me know how that works out for you. And what happens? Immediately the entire country goes, hold on, I despise Republicans. Wait, what are they doing? This is the most corrupt regime in history by far, and it's not even close. They're self-enriching as the entire country is struggling? What? Well, that seems pretty bad. Oh, they're in the Epstein files, and Trump is the head of the snake when it comes to the elite pedophile cabal of sadists? What? Oh, he's starting a new war seemingly every other week? What is this? Oh, he's invading U.S. cities with the U.S. military? He's creating a fascist Gestapo secret police state?
Not that secret.
Fresh, baby. This one is fresh off the presses. 56 minutes ago. Thrown to hell. Trump's Hormuz blockade punishes Iran after peace talk collapses. Okay, gird your loins, everybody. We're turning over to valuetainment to understand how this blockade is going to go. So protect yourself. Protect yourself at all times of this info hazard.
Trump announces
that really mattered, nuclear was not. Effective immediately, the United States Navy, the finest in the world, will begin the process of blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. At some point, we will reach and all being allowed to go in, all being...
If you're gonna read this whole thing, this is so long. I love how it looks on the screen, too, because it just looks so, like, a big wall of text, no paragraphs. You can make paragraph breaks on Truth Social, I'm sure. So the choice to not do paragraph breaks, I think, is very strange. I would also note that, like, Trump has a very, like, I also have this quality, and so do, like, I don't know, Central European philosophers and social scientists. Sometimes he just capitalizes random words that he wants you to focus on because they're extra important. And so I do that too.
Allowed to go out bases, but Iran has not allowed that to happen by merely saying there may be a mine out there somewhere that nobody knows about but them. This is world extortion, and leaders of countries, especially the U.S., will never be extorted. I've also instructed our Navy to seek and interdict every vessel in international waters that has paid a toll to Iran. No one who pays an illegal toll will have safe passage on the high seas. We will also begin destroying the mines the Iranians laid in the straits. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Iran knows better than anyone how to end this situation, which has already devastated their country. Their navy is gone, their air force is gone, their anti-aircraft and radar are useless. Khomeini, you probably meant to say Khomeini, and their leaders are dead. All because of their ambition. The blockade will begin shortly. Other countries will be involved with the blockade. Iran will not be allowed to profit of this illegal act of extortion.
Shit,
they want money, and more importantly, they want nuclear. Additionally, and at an appropriate moment, we will fully be locked and loaded, and our military will finish up the little that is left of Iran. So that announcement is made. You look at oil prices right now, Rob, if you want to go to it real quick, just to kind of see where we are with it. As of right now, oil prices, maybe press a refresh. Is it live? 103.39. There you go, 103.39. It was at 105 in the morning. It went all the way up to 119. They're saying if this continues for another week or two, we could be looking at 140. Even if a little bit longer, we could be looking at 200, which is pretty wild to be thinking about. And J.D. Vance himself was out there, I believe, trying to negotiate with Iran. He even said that it went for 21 hours, and I think in an interview, Rob, if you have it, he says it's bad for Iran. It's not good for Iran after 21 hours of negotiations that they had about the blockade. And the president came out and said something. Hopefully we'll find a clip to show you. But he came out and said, is this the one, Rob?
Yes, one of them.
Go for it.
There were multiple rounds where there were breaks in between negotiations. How often did you communicate with the president throughout those rounds, and what was he saying as you were going through these negotiations?
Yeah, obviously we were talking to the president consistently. I don't know how many times we talked to him, a half dozen times, a dozen times over the past 21 hours. We obviously also talked to Admiral Cooper, Pete, to Marco, to the entire national security team. We talked to Scott Besson a number of times. So look, we were constantly in communication with the team because we were negotiating in good faith.
You pause it.
And
okay, so Tom, what do you think about the blockade?
So I would take right now, like, they weren't talking to Trump at all because Trump was being like walked out to the UFC fight by Dana White. Like Dana White was like holding his hand or whatever to walk him out like an old lady to a UFC fight. And then after the fight, I think it was like Paulo Costa or some like Brazilian or South American, probably far right fighter, was like kneeling in front of him, and he was like patting his hand and thigh and going like, "Oh yeah, you're so handsome, you know." And even based on the way I'm telling the story, you know it's true because he always does that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like J.D. Vance, Steve Witkoff, and like half of Jared Kushner's face. And you can't really see half of Jared Kushner's face because of the way the screen is oriented. But there you go. He does have baby mustard in like this particular half of his face.
Okay, so Tom, what do you think about the blockade?
So let's take a look at a map so everybody can understand. Because over the weekend, that one?
Map time.
No, that one. Okay, so take a look at this. On the lower side is Oman. is Oman. And here's the two old shipping lanes when the Strait of Hormuz was operating before the war. See it? One goes this way, one goes that way. Those are those shipping lanes, and they keep 2 miles in between for bad weather, fog, you know, all the kinds of things you want. So these boats go this way and that way. That's where it was before.
Yes.
Do you see the red gridded area there? Where Iran has declared it a hazardous area. See that square there, Pat? Yeah. Iran has said, we put a bunch of mines in here, but we can't remember where we put them. That's why the president, in his quote that you just read,
Do you believe they really don't know where it's at?
no, I believe they're using the unknown to force their offer, which is, see the two lanes that now run through the pink? The pink, light red, is Iran territory waters, and they're trying to force the shipping lanes to reroute. They're going to put the toll booth on Merak Island. See that right there with the two lanes? Yep. One goes this way, one goes that way. So they're saying, hey, you're going to pay a toll to us. This is where it's going to go. And gosh, I wish I could help you with those shipping lanes down there. Yeah, I got mines in the area. So the president is saying, screw you. I'm going to blockade you on those new shipping lanes that you're offering, that your own boats are shipping through. And we're going to go clear any mines out of the old shipping lanes by Oman, and we're going to get life back to order. And that's what the president is saying on an operational level. These are the actions he's going to take. On the other side, Iran wasn't given, and they weren't given, which is kind of put him in the, all right, you know, you're not going to give up, so I'm going to go blockade the other way.
But ladies, because we got them there under false pretenses, because they thought that we were giving up. Like, it's so funny how, like, because none of them read, like, the Iranian 10-point plan, and Trump was saying that, like, Iran was begging for the ceasefire, that they don't realize that we begged for the meeting. We were the ones, the United States was the one who was begging for the meeting, and the only way we could get the meeting was to essentially agree to their 10-point plan, which was basically surrendering, basically contained all of the things that Trump was then saying once he got there, that J.D. Vance, I should say, was saying once he got there was not on the table. And so, yeah, like they said no, okay, but because they wouldn't even come if they had known that was the case. And so, like, it's really just so dummies like this can frame it as though the United States was the reasonable one, when in reality, they were being unreasonable, even though they desperately want this to be over, which is why they basically got them there in the first place.
Gentlemen, that's why you're hearing Iran saying we're blockading, using it because they say there's mines, and we say, no, we're going to blockade, saying we're going to block the new lanes that have been offered by Iran.
So, U.S. is winning, Iran is losing, and everyone else is trying to pick up the pieces of what's
I feel bad for Adam now. I'll be honest with you. I'm not as like much of a bad piece of shit who doesn't give a fuck about anyone's emotions as I come across as. Adam, like, kind of just being so dour because he's afraid of getting fired. I don't like that. I don't like that because he's still a worker, I guess, on the PPD show, and PPD, like, did demean him, like, publicly, and I don't like to valorize that sort of stuff. I say all of that before he started speaking, so that I don't feel like I shouldn't say that stuff, because I'm sure the things that he's going to say are going to be saying all of that.
So, U.S. is winning, Iran is losing, and everyone else is trying to pick up the pieces of what's actually going on. It's very interesting to me to see, obviously we saw the tweet that Trump did when he called out everybody, especially the MAGA crowd. It was basically abandon Trump. It's like, you don't abandon the guy that got you here. So the question with Trump now regarding Hormuz and just the overall Trump situation is Trump betraying his base? Or is he actually just following through for what he's always said? So if you just look at Trump's track record, and then I'm going to get to the Strait of Hormuz, he came in 2015, came down the escalator. In that speech, he addressed the Mexican situation, they're rapists, they're this, they're that, and some are good people. What was missing in that speech is he called out Iran. In his first major speech, okay, gotcha. He's exited the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear agreement. I don't want to curse right now, but he said, I'm going to bomb the out of them. Do you remember that quote?
That's a bad idea.
Then he did it. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care. He said this.
And now you're complaining about them not wanting to do peace talks. Like, this is like Trump's ideal audience. People who can say all of these things and not realize how insane they sound. Like, yeah, he ripped up the deal that basically got them with everything that they wanted, and then he bombed them while negotiating, and they don't want to negotiate anymore.
healthcare now.
Years ago, he takes out Soleimani. By the way, took out ISIS. Where are they these days? He was in a 12-day war, the bombing of the nuclear facilities. He did a Muslim ban, and all of a sudden people are like, dude, where did this come from?
Once President was
I
here.
thought you didn't want any new wars with Iran. I view it this way. Trump's not starting a new war. He's ending a war with Iran.
Oh my
They've
God.
been in war for 47 years. Now let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. Okay. This is all Iran's got left. We've taken out their military. We've taken out their navy. Do they even have an air force? Do they even have defensive missile capabilities? Defensive. They're making themselves enemies of all their neighbors. They're a social pariah. And all they got left is the Strait of Hormuz. So it's an economic
Really describing America.
So I'll ask you this. Remember the famous situation where Trump and J.D. Vance were in the Oval Office and they were dressing down Zelensky? He's like, you don't have the cards. You don't have the cards. Now Iran jokingly goes, yeah, well, we have a strait. The Strait of Hormuz. And Trump's using this block.
Oh, no, please don't make a card head joke, please. Oh, he's gonna do it. Oh, what is he gonna say? Okay.
Jokingly goes, yeah, well, we have a strait. The Strait of Hormuz. And Trump's using this blockade and saying, oh, really? Nice strait. Boom. Here's a royal flush. I'm gonna blockade your blockade. You think you're crazy? I'm crazier than you. The bottom line is this. Trump has all the cards, he has all the leverage, and now Iran is going to have to scramble to dictate what Trump's going to do.
I want to show you two things. Rob, if you want to pull up the J.D. Vance clip real quick when he explains 21 hours.
That literally felt like it gave me a stroke. I feel like I just made my face like Popeye the Sailor Man. Can't even open my right eye anymore.
Said nothing happened. Go ahead, Rob.
They're crazy.
Well, good morning, everybody. And let me say a couple of notes of appreciation. First of all, to the Prime Minister of Pakistan.
You can't just fucking stand underneath my goddamn feet.
Incredible host. And whatever shortcomings in the negotiation, it wasn't because of the Pakistanis who did an amazing job and really tried to help us and the Iranians bridge the gap and get to a deal. We've been at it now for 21 hours, and we've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement, and I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America. So we go back to the United States having not come to an agreement. We've made very clear what our red lines are, what things we're willing to accommodate them on, and what things we're not willing to accommodate them on. And we've made that as clear as we possibly could, and they have chosen not to accept our terms.
Okay, so you hear that. Wait, you hear that right there. Then you see the president coming out, and he's speaking to Maria Bartiromo, and this is what he says to her on what he wants now from them.
They come back and they give us everything we want. And I told my people, I want everything. I don't want 90%. I don't want 95%. I told them, I want everything.
Yeah, so now here's the thing. I think one of the things the president did, by sending J.D. Vance out there, I actually like that move a lot. I'll tell you why. If Rubio went out there negotiating on his behalf,
Sending J.D. Vance to negotiate on your behalf should be like considered the negotiation equivalent of letting off like a chemical weapon in a crowded civilian area, which I guess, we're almost there in terms of real warfare, but it just feels like it's not going to garner the reaction that you think.
Why? Because if Rubio went out there negotiating on his behalf, Rubio people would say he's an interventionist. But if J.D. Vance goes out there negotiating as a guy whose position is probably a non-interventionist, more like an isolationist, because the ties of names like Tulsi being tied to J.D., Joe Kent being tied to J.D., a lot of Tucker Carlson's son, Ben, I believe his name is Buckley Carlson being tied to J.D. I think these are all good things that the president did of sending J.D. Vance out there, because the world is now saying, well, guess what? Rubio, J.D., and Trump are all on the same page when it comes out to Iran. You can say whatever you want. Those three are now on the same page. So, the average person would have probably thought the better person to send to negotiate here would have been who? Rubio. Right?
Rubio and Witkoff, they've been doing their work.
But why did he not send Rubio? Why did he send J.D.? I think it's a absolute great move that he sent JD instead. And by the way, here's the thing that we're going to realize as well. You know, this is a little bit tough because, you know, like people say things to me, you know, so well, you know, why don't you send me, you know, when we're doing certain negotiations, and I'll say, look, if I send Tom, here's what Tom's gonna do. Tom's gonna close, the deal's gonna get done, we're gonna make progress. If I send you, will you close? If you don't close, Vinny, then I'm not sending you. It's gonna go close the deal without you being there. So the pressure's also on who? The pressure's also on JD to close, because right now what are a lot of people saying? You saw the criticism that's...
I love how, like, seriously they take PBD when he's talking to them. Like, look at how, like, serious Vinny is, and look good Vinny. Look how serious Vinny is considering PBD, like, as he's talking. I just want to laugh.
On JD to close, because right now what are a lot of people saying? You saw the criticism that's going viral right now. What is the criticism? Did you see it about JD?
Every time I see Vinny get more watches,
because he doesn't have the cloud, he can't close the deal.
Anything he touches, it doesn't turn to gold.
Yeah.
What people are saying, like he's a drink of politics. Like they're saying, hey,
Trump's a drink of politics.
The criticism is saying, you know, JD's approval rating has fallen 21 points from January 2025. Exactly. To minus 18 today, so he has to rebuild his credibility, because he went to help out Orban didn't work out. He went to negotiate, so this is also a way of saying, hey, you want to go be a president? Show up. Do you know how to negotiate in these high intense, high pressure type of situations? We're gonna see what he's gonna do.
Yeah, of course. PBD is a bad boss too, and so like this makes sense to him because this is exactly what he would do. He would set Vinny or Adam up to fail the same way that Trump has set JD up to fail. Because whether or not you believe that like those negotiations were fake or they were, I don't think that they were fake, right? So there's a version of what happened that like on its surface was in bad faith in order to continue the war in such a way that gives Israel its perpetual warfare in the region. I don't think that's exactly what Trump wanted to do with this. I think he just wanted to get way. And I don't think his way is being at constant war with Iran. His way is looking like a big tough guy and getting Iran to like, symbolically concede to his whim, which they don't want to do anymore. And Israel likely promised him that would not be the case. And there's likely some tension as a result of that we are not seeing, or like it certainly not meaningful in terms of like what it means materially for the people who are being bombed. But like it's clear that Trump thought this would be different. This would be done differently. And you know, he sent JD, he sent Witkoff, he sent Jared Kushner. He probably even thinks those people are good negotiators. Whether or not Witkoff and Kushner have like ulterior motives that Trump don't know, we can't necessarily say. But I believe that Trump wants an end to this war. Like, I don't think Trump wants to continue to be at war with Iran, but he got us in war with Iran. And unless he's willing to surrender, it doesn't really matter who he sends, right? Like, he's a fake business guy. I mean, he has a real business, I guess, but he's a fake business guy. He doesn't understand that there are some times where it doesn't matter how good of a negotiator you are, how good you are at the blah, 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 blah. To borrow Adam's metaphor, Iran holds most of the cards. The only cards that we really hold when it comes to Iran is that we can continue to kill tons of them and continue to escalate in how we kill tons of them. But even that will not accomplish our goals, and will ultimately just turn more people against us eventually. Right, especially if we use unconventional warfare, like sending JD Vance to the middle of Tehran, right? That's a code for other forms of internationally frowned upon unconventional weapons. And so JD is, I think, more likely to be the fall guy for this, in the sense that he's playing the Kamala role. You send him to do something that you want him to fail at, so at least, you know, you look like the winner. Because if JD Vance had been able to negotiate this properly, Trump would, you know, he would take responsibility for it, but then he'd probably get jealous of him for having succeeded, and he would work to sabotage him in some other way. And so it really is an unfortunate reality that the Trump administration and a lot of people like this, and even smarter people than this, have not understood just how little leverage Trump has in this, just because we could theoretically kill more of them. And the fact that like this can only really end in American surrender is, I mean, it's only a month away. That's a little follow that debate. You gotta close. You have to close the deal. So will others be threatened by what he's saying? We don't know. We're about to find out.
Well, Pat, and I'll give you credit where credit's due. When we were in the van coming back, this just broke, and this was one of the first things that you said, is that they know that they're sending a guy that doesn't want war, that was distancing himself. Trump was in, they quoted him, I don't know if it was New York Times or Wall Street Journal, where they said, the president said J.D. Vance was, then they put in quotes, less enthusiastic about the war. And by the way, so this looks like a dead end. If you want, from a strategic point of view, Tommy, you want to send a guy that has to now get his hands dirty, because this trip, to me, was about watching, documenting, and letting Iran show in real time that there was no real path forward. I believe they kind of already knew that going in. Once the optics were locked in, the moral high ground was established, and whatever comes next can now be framed as the only remaining option. It made me look at the book Art of War, and Sun Tzu wrote, all warfare is based on deception, which basically the lesson is, when conflict is unavoidable, let your enemy prove peace was never possible. Then when
so desperate. Go do this fucking Art of War, dude. Oh my god. It's actually super smart. Drip's kind of a genius here. Sun Tzu, Art of War, baby.
Negotiate at all, so you're in it with us.
What do we set up?
Fucking joke. Donald Trump can't just read. Shut up.
It's still again stocks in shadows. It breathes in darkness. I can't. What you gotta think this is? To me, it's like a bike seat. It's like a seat for like a bicycle. A face mask. It could be like a eggplant holder. Like if you do like a eggplant at the farmer's market, you can like open this up and put it inside. Like a canteen, like a water pouch, like a leather water satchel that Conan would drink out of. It's a shoe. It's so wide at the front. It looks like a fucking clown shoe.
Oh yeah.
Blends comfort, function, and luxury. That did not look like it's because of the angle and because this is AI. But yeah, this looks like a clown shoe, and then they put like a normal like ugly loafer that we had to choose to make it.
No laces. People can't tie their shoes.
We chose we made it shitty instead. Gosh, should I get a pair of these? How much did they cost? Instead, we chose Tuscan Italy. Oh shit. True Italian craftsmanship. Okay. Each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Inspired Collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not hoarded. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless. Do they have made them a little bit less ugly? Designed in Florida, made in Italy. Wow, I don't think I could think of any worse tagline for anything. It shows. That's exactly right. That Art of War point that Vinny made at the end is obviously dumb. Because, here's the thing. Everyone knows the Trump administration caused this war for no reason, or for reasons that people are not sympathetic to, even if they aren't exactly correct, like hiding the Epstein files, or helping Israel, or any of those things, like implementing the end of days. And some of those are correct, right? At least for some of the actors who are engaged in perpetuating this war. And so, deception isn't going to work for his approval and the population. It's not going to work, right? It didn't even work on Vinny, right? Because he's describing what he thinks is happening, which is that they were faking the negotiation, right? So if the deception didn't even work on Vinny, he was able to see through it. So maybe they're just trying to do that, that they have more of a justification for ground strike. Why would anyone else fall for it, right? Obviously. They probably aren't going to do a ground invade. Well, I mean, they shouldn't. It wouldn't go well, right? And so I think that's the thing missing from their analysis, besides the other parts, all of the other parts. The fact that, this blockade won't work. A ground invasion won't work. The only thing that will work is surrender, right? Essentially. And that can look a lot of different ways, but it's just going to happen. It has to happen. And so it can either happen now when things are still relatively, I think, well, not relatively, but where things are where they are right now, or they can happen in 2 weeks after the Red Sea has been closed down by the Houthis after more Saudi oil and gas facilities have been blown up, after a tanker hits a mine or a U.S. military boat gets blown up or whatever. It can happen after all that stuff, or it can happen now. And so every day it doesn't happen, you know, you start to need a little bit more of these like FLV clown shoes to, you know, step in for the president, you know, our orange president. He's almost this color if you think about it. Like I could put up a half and half with Trump in this shoe and you'd be like, oh, like that's the color that they made the shoe, like Trump brown orange, burnt sienna. Not made in America, no, he said the shoes are nice. He said the shoes are nice, man.
Hey you and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we are talking about what is once again one of my favorite subjects, and that is star-crossed lovers. They would do anything, and I mean anything, to be together. The unthinkable, it becomes pretty darn thinkable when you're in love. And also, you know, a head case. It all started when people thought a teen had been abducted by her much older boyfriend. Scary stuff. But it would then slowly be revealed that, well, you know, they say age is just a number, you know, and I mean, when I say they, I mean predators say that, but in this case, it's kind of true. Because although she was much younger, she certainly was wearing flats, and she was certainly holding the big rock. Before we get into it, please subscribe to see new videos every single week. Now, let's give it a go. So the place for this one, it's a little old place, just outside of Toledo, Ohio. Ohio, once again, please the beach, named on Sylvania Township. It's a suburb home to about 50,000 people and gets an A+ in sort of everything. Nice, quiet, with kind of everything you need within a 15-minute drive. People say safety, bingo, numero one in these parts. Ain't bad things gonna happen to you in Sylvania Township. Not these days. Except, well, this one day in April of 2023 that would set up this kind of twisting and turning chain of events that would lead all the way to Mexico. If you can believe that. Buckle up, buckaroos. What really kicked all of this off was it missing persons report? Yeah, let's start. The missing persons report was filed May 5th, 2023 regarding Nicole D. Jones, 53 years of age, who lived in Sylvania Township. Police had gone to the home she lived in with her grown-ass son on Timbers Edge Boulevard, which really became Shivery Timbers Boulevard. You know, they've been sent there to do a welfare check on Nicole Jones. However, upon her arriving, knocking on her door, having a view around the place, she was nowhere to be found.
That's kind of I read it as I'm coming down here. It's kind of a weird one. Say if it's unlocked.
Packages have been left outside for what appeared to be a few days, so there's no activity in this house.
You know,
now, the police have been requested to do a welfare check on Nicole Jones, and it seems like it was because she's obviously nowhere to be found. Because, you know, just a few days earlier, a 17-year-old girl had texted a foster care worker that she had, well, just committed murder and arson. And, well, Nicole Jones might likely be the person she would commit murder and arson to if she was going to do it. And maybe she had.
Trying to check the safety of her. Has anybody seen her?
No. I've only seen a guy going in and out there. I have not seen her in forever.
Okay.
That's a fucked up night. Nice supply there.
Nicole Jones was at Toledo, Ohio. But after having worked her life as a phlebotomist at Toledo Hospital, she was now chilling and enjoying time with her nieces, nephews, and of course her son, Jonathan Jones. Jonathan was a military vet, having served from 2009 to 2013 in Afghanistan, and was now living at home with his mom. He had a couple of kids and a couple of relationships, but it appears that over the years his attempts to hold down a job hadn't been successful, and he was mostly on disability after having been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after, well, it appears his time in the military. It appears he had experienced quite a few IEDs and traumatic events. But in recent years, things hadn't been too swell for old Johnny Boo. had been getting himself into far too much trouble with someone who was far too young for him. Like, he was 33 and he'd been fooling around with a 17-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. See, there was this girl in foster care in Toledo, Ohio. Her name was Caitlin Coons, and she was a very troubled girl. And when I say very, I mean extreme. She was in a foster home, and she would book it out of there. She would be outie 5,000 to any chance she got. Like a shot, she's gone. She would be running away from folks again and again and again, running away from these. People would say that the conditions that she'd grown up was kind of horrific. But, well, yeah, and it seems like during one of these excursions, that's where she met Jonathan Jones. They actually met on a dating website called Mingle2. So good at gossip. There was a 16-year age gap between the two. Now, as I said, Caitlin, very troubled, difficult relationship with her parents, to the extent that it led to her being placed in foster care, and she would enter into these relationships with men who were far too old for her, or predators is better. Wait, better term to call. Caitlin struggled with drugs, with eating disorders, and it even led to her getting into a car accident. She said, she hit her head so hard, she was developing memory issues, and I mean, it seems like she's already got a lot going on here, so she really doesn't need a backing up. Now, the relationship between Jonathan and Caitlin would eventually lead to Jonathan getting arrested and charged with child engagement, obscenity involving minors, and basically a whole litany of charges. This was after, they were found together, and videos and photos were found on Jonathan's devices, which depicted them, doing it. It's too gross. I tried to do it in a way where it's not gross, but this is really good. Let's move on. He would plead guilty to this in March of 2023, and he was sent home with an ankle monitor. Jonathan Jones was due to be sentenced for this, but he missed the May 4th court appearance. And now, all of them were missing. You got Jonathan Jones. No one knows where he's gone. Nicole Jones, ditto, and Caitlin Coons, who liked to run away. Apparently she ran away so far nobody could find her. Had she run away with her much older boyfriend? She had actually been missing since April 18th, so over 2 weeks by the time the police actually went to the Jones home.
Did you read the same text I did? There's the son took the woman's car with the girlfriend. Okay, the girlfriend down there reported to her caseworker that they killed some lady and burned her house. So that's all we got. And
Sylvania police checked the Jones home on May 5th. It was completely empty, and U.S. Marshals had also arrived to help in the search.
Are you working with the detective? Is Canton?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like a fugitive investigation, but then I guess
the one lady said that she killed her in arson.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if
they're supposedly they took mom's car. They're in her car somewhere.
Okay. Do we know how old she is?
It was also very fearful because one of the child services employees had gotten a text from Caitlin. The text said she had just killed 2 people and was now on the run.
It says, I just killed 2 people and I did 2 arsons. I'm in trouble, and they don't know I'm away from Ohio and about what I intend. There's the money. That's her. I'm guessing this is her phone, because clearly it says, Caitlin, whatever. But so Canton PD detectives are working that side of it. Jesus.
All right, that's why we're going to get detective here.
And what? Mom's probably in the trunk.
Oh, who knows? I mean, I don't know what income maybe she, they milk her for that. Who knows?
I guess. We've already done that, and I got airplanes up right now. So, I think this is definitely sufficient. That's been sweet.
Had Caitlin killed Jonathan and Nicole? If you're theorizing, it actually seems more likely that Jonathan would have killed his own mother and then ran away with a minor. Ran away with his teen sweetheart because Jonathan, he missed his court appearance in Wood County. for, you know, the previous charges he had with Caitlin Coop. After Jonathan was released after he pleaded guilty before he was sentenced, which he missed, he was required to wear an ankle monitor, have no contact with kids, and no internet access. He was a predator in the dictionary definition. Like, you Google it, his picture pops up. It soon became apparent that Nicole, Nikki, was likely the victim of a homicide, and the U.S. Marshals Service sent out a release for a fugitive, Jonathan, and a missing child.
Well, new tonight we are tracking a developing story as we work to learn what exactly is going on.
So we know that police are looking to get a warrant for at least one suspect. And again, as we mentioned, that there is no body as of right now. And we know that this victim is actually related to a suspect in another incident. So we came here to Timber's Edge to find out what exactly neighbors know about this case. U.S. Marshals issued an alert for 33-year-old Jonathan earlier this month. The Wood County Sheriff's Office wanted him for pandering obscene material and child endangerment. They say he was with a 17-year-old endangered child.
But it was Caitlin was still posting on her Facebook, you know, that she was still, like, in the life. These short little videos of Dave Buster's with another older man, not Jonathan Jones, one of these other mystery old men she had met in her excursions. When police went and checked out this guy, though, he would say, nah, they were taken a long time ago. It appeared that Caitlin was trying to mislead the police as to where she was and what she was doing in, like, the stupidest way possible. It's like uploading old photos and saying, oh, no, actually, that was just taken yesterday. You know, now the investigators were learning real soon that Jonathan and Caitlin had actually been spotted at the Mexican border. They were getting the hell out of Dodge. They were going to go for a run. They were questioned by Border Patrol. You know, what are you guys doing here? Something a little bit suspect about what you guys are up to. But of course, you know, it was like, well, we're actually going out, not coming in. And so the Border Patrol, like, not our problem anymore, actually. And they were even driving Nicole's 2021 Buick Enclave. They were driving his mom's car. Stolen.
So what happened was this dude was on bond for his son. Right. He was supposed to show up for sentencing or something like that. Okay. This morning, the Border Patrol stops him in Douglas, Arizona. Okay. With a 17. It's a missing uniform.
And she's the one reporting the murder and
but they also said they burned the house down too.
Right.
Right. Obviously, the house was burned down.
Right.
So right now.
So we have no idea where she is.
We don't.
Soon the hunt was on for the couple, and also the hunt was on for Nicole's likely body, which they had come to believe had been dumped. Remember, Jonathan Jones had been wearing a ankle monitor the entire time he was free, so they were actually kind of able to track him the entire time until he eventually disabled him and he was making a run out of the country with his teams. But around the time of the murder, it was on May 9th that Jonathan and Caitlin were finally picked up by Mexican authorities in Ahumada, Chihuahua, cartel capital, if you can believe that. They were picked up, like, they were on the side of the road selling jewelry to try and get some money, because of course neither of them had any cash to go. They were selling Nicole's, his mom's jewelry, which they'd also nabbed when they went on the run. Mexican authorities, they were like, this looks a little bit suspect when seeing these two gringos on the side of the road. They started questioning them. They began to wonder, are you like tracking Caitlin Coons, you know, something. They then searched the Buick. They found marijuana there, so they arrested them on that. But they also found Nicole's credit cards, her license, her ID, and they found a backpack with what looked like blood on it. Now, the next day, as Caitlin was an underage American citizen, they sent her back to, you know, their side of the border, and in El Paso, she was picked up by detectives. She would be asked, what happened? Are you okay? You know, what happened? Did he steal you? Did he kidnap you? And of course, where's Nicole, your boyfriend's mom? Where is she?
So, were you guys driving a vehicle? Yeah. Okay. We were driving his mom to the holiday. She was driving. And stuff. And Nikki.
Caitlin would say she's she's grand. You know, I think last time I saw her anyway, she was like on her bed reading her phone or something. Like a grand old time. And you know what? She actually gave us all her jewelry. If you can believe it. What a woman. She actually gave us all her jewelry so we could sell it. And she gave us her glasses. Happy days. Caitlin would of course deny being the one who sent that message saying she just killed 2 people and like done arson. She said, wasn't me. I got hacks. Yeah, damn dirty trolls. That Nicole was likely dead. But don't know what you're on about. You didn't know it. But of course, pressing, Caitlin would eventually reveal the entire horror story that was her and Jonathan's relationship and what they did to his mom. Nicole did not approve of their relationship, as she should have. She was also very, very close with Jonathan, almost too close. Like, they're really involved with each other's, a lot. Still, don't like where that's going. But basically, to Caitlin, she was getting in the way. Of course, Nicole didn't like her. She was underage, and her son who she was very close with, had been getting in trouble for fooling around with her. Her son was a predator. But you know what I mean. So, well, that just wouldn't do.
And this was because she wanted to do that. And she wanted to really accessible with her because whenever you get lost to adults, and she was working with that back on the years, the time, and now we were right here on that, we didn't have to for that year, that's when we taught her ourselves. And so then, she was always over herself. Like, always being food and stuff like that, and didn't really hurt her. But it was appropriate.
See, of course, Caitlin had a completely different view to Jonathan than pretty much everybody else with, a functioning brain would. She did tip to her. Jonathan was, he was sweet, he was caring, he was all of these things.
He's very and really, nobody is like him at all. Like, I've never met him really.
She would do anything for them to be together. So, Caitlin ran away from the foster home and snuck into the Joneses' house via a window. Nicole had no clue who was in the home. And so this is the bachelor party. Caitlin gave Jonathan an ultimatum. You have 5 hours to kill your mom. Tick, 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 tick. Time to waste them. So they sort of like hung out all night, talking about it, this and that, how we're gonna do it. I can only imagine Caitlin just calling Jonathan like a bitch for not doing it the entire time. Until 5 hours were up. She waited till the final day. And then 5 hours were up. Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to do it myself. And she did do it herself. She was creeping around the house. Again, Nicole had no idea that Caitlin was there. One time then Nicole was, at the fridge, leaning into the fridge, getting out some munchies, this and that. Comes up behind her and starts strangling her to death. Then after that, fussing for a while, when Nicole was on the floor, Caitlin grabbed a big rock she had taken with her, brought it down, and smacked her repeatedly on the head.
We went to go get cookies for 5 that I cashed out and stuff, and went to go in
didn't know Caitlin had confessed, so he kept the spiel. Oh yeah, saw Mom a few days ago and she was grand. I'm assuming she still is. Wink, wink.
Your mom is where she's at right now. Right. You were doing
But then they would reveal to Jonathan, Caitlin already spoke, so cough it up. He told of how they cleaned up the home, went to Lowe's to get some tarps, bought McDonald's because, you know, being a freaking monster is hungry. Jonathan told the story, which was confirmed by his ankle bracelet, about then driving around town with his mom in the trunk, and eventually dumping her at an apartment complex dumpster. Pretty grim. Caitlin would also claim to have killed another person in Arizona in a drive-by. Now, what that's about, nobody actually knows. Like, we have no idea if she's telling the truth. Did she shoot somebody else? We have no idea, like, nobody else is over, nothing like that, nothing helpful and stuff. So we don't actually know if that story is true or not.
I think 100% I was the one that killed his mom, I was the one that she was fine, or whatever. I was just, after killing her, I was
Okay.
you
That's
know,
pretty good.
everybody else was just really
Sounds like you
Just
take
like we
on.
do not know what happened to Nicole Jones. Her body has still not been found. And at this stage, it likely never will.
Got off the phone with the attorney for Nicole Jones's family not too long ago, and they're not happy with the work that has been done to recover Jones's body. If you look at your screen, this is the first photo that we're seeing of Nicole Jones. According to the family was informed by Sylvania Township Police that Nicole was missing on May 5th. They believe that they were actively looking for her until they had a meeting with the police department on May 10th where they learned that she was killed. The attorneys tell me that the family was led to believe that Sylvania Township has a location to conduct a search, and they don't understand why the department is dragging its feet.
Well, we have some new information on a teen charged with killing her boyfriend's mother in Sylvania Township. Caitlin Coons appeared in court today. A judge set her bond at $1.75 million. Coons is facing aggravated murder and other charges. Investigators say they believe she killed 53-year-old Nicole Jones last year. Court documents allege the victim would not allow Coons, who was 17, to be with her boyfriend, 34-year-old Jonathan Jones. He is also charged with
Caitlin initially pleaded not guilty to the murder and copious other charges, but later changed her mind. Both her and Jonathan would plead no contest, and both were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. And that is the story of the murder of Nicole Jones. Who is the manipulator, who isn't? Frankly, I think they both are. Self-defending her for self-defending. As I said, Nicole's body has never been found, so what really happened that day we will never know. Some think that Caitlin was taking the blame for the murder, and that Jonathan was, in fact, directly involved. Caitlin taking responsibility for the killing blow, as she thought, as a minor, she would get a smaller sentence. But in the end, the authorities could never believe them, and so they both got the very same. But one thing we do know is that Caitlin and Jonathan are the ultimate match made in HE double hockey sticks. Thank you so much for watching, folks. Really means the absolute world to me. Hope you enjoyed this whole video. Next one will be up when it's up. So keep an eye out. It'll be up. But until then, please take care of each other and please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out. Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in this whole video, we are going to look at a story that is, it's about as wild as they come. It's an ongoing story, and it involves a singer, a car, and a dismembered body. There's a fella named David, a popular singer, took off on TikTok. Seems to be riding this great wave of popularity, till, well, like in a lot of cases, a horrifying discovery was made. A young teen, well, Hartsburg. As I said, this is an ongoing case, so there's like, folks, there's going to be a lot of allegedlys and apparentlys and the yada yada yada. But it's wild enough, even with what we know so far, that we're going to go through it all. We're going to go through it all. But before we do, please subscribe to see new stories for the dark every single week. Now, you and I, let's give this mad one a go. let's begin at the 1000th block of North Mansfield Avenue, Hollywood, California. A quieter side, lots of more industrial style businesses, that sort of thing. Not a whole lot popping off, and not a hell of a lot of reasons to be there unless you got it. And on September 8th, 2025, Los Angeles Police Department officers, they got it. See, there lies Hollywood Tow, which is a tow, I mean, it's sort of exactly what it says on the tin. So no great explanation there. By the way, it's just across the road from what it says on Google Maps is a government grave site. I know what a black site is. Isn't that when the government like kidnaps people? So what the hell is a grave site? Moving on. That Monday, September 8th, 2025, employees at Hollywood Tow, they called the police. They had many vehicles, which they had impounded for one reason or another. But a 2023 Tesla Y, which they had towed in a few days previous, had this awful smell emanating from it, and it was attracting flies and all sorts of vermin. The car had been impounded a few days previous. As a resident on a street in Hollywood Hills, they had noticed this Tesla parked on their street for, well, close to a month, if you can believe such a thing. And the thing wasn't moving, right? Get the hell out of it. The Tesla, it had Texas plates, so everybody was assuming somebody had driven it here and just, abandoned, or maybe it was stolen, Lord knows. Of course, though, the police arriving this day would soon discover why. Investigating the car, they opened up the front trunk, and inside was a bag. Opening up that bag, surrounded by flies and a smell stronger than ever, was a decomposing, dismembered body. It was in such a state that it was impossible to tell anything about who this was, or even how much of a person this was. As horrifying a discovery as you'll ever find. This was all quickly taped off as a crime scene. I mean, this is as horrific a discovery as you'll ever find.
Yeah, that worker can't believe it. His co-workers made that gruesome discovery on the second floor of this parking garage. Now many wondering who would do this and why. An up-close look at the black Tesla where a body was found Monday stuffed in the car's trunk.
Pretty shocking, yeah. So it's a toll yard for LAPD's toll yard, so pretty shocking to me, though.
Victor's co-workers at Hollywood Tow made the gruesome discovery on the impound lot's second floor after noticing a strong smell coming from the car. Police then finding the victim's body wrapped in a bag like trash inside the Tesla's trunk. Fox 11 is learning the car was towed in from Hollywood Hills last week after someone reported it as abandoned.
And the first port of call trying to discover what's all this about was to run the plates of the Tesla this dismembered body had been found. And running those plates, it linked back to a David Anthony Burke. And your first thought, is that him? Have we found David Anthony Burke? Murdered dumped in his own car, perchance, you say? Perchance? No. Because David Anthony Burke was better known under a different name, if you believe that. It was D4DD, or Bacon is what he went by. And the very same day, his Tesla was found. He was performing a sold-out concert in Minneapolis. Turns out he's this crazy, popular, mad shit lad on tour. At the time of the body being found in his car, David was on tour, his withered tour. The sort of theme or gimmick of the tour was that it was a funeral. There's a casket, photos, flowers, all that sort of thing. The funeral was for David's alter ego named Itami. Itami means hey, ow, in Japanese, but it's also an anagram for I am it. And Itami always wears this like white shirt covered in blood, which is like, wow. You fucking mad if there was a dismembered body found in his car, what? So he was on tour for his killer, dark side, alter ego's funeral. Though it would turn out that the funeral was actually for his career.
Yeah, everything that's happened in the past 18 months has been absolutely bonkers.
David, 20 years old, born in New York but grew up in Houston, was sorta always online. He first, before becoming a singer, was a Fortnite YouTuber. He did that for years before starting on TikTok, and then his singing career just exploded. His dream was initially to be a professional Fortnite player, starting that back in 2017. But he would say in interviews that the music he used in his videos would always get copyright strikes. He would use like Justin Bieber and Jay-Z in his videos to try and make them more popular. That worked for a while, until the music industry stepped in and whipped out their knobs and started use their music without Daddy getting a taste.
And the backstory on how I came to even making music in the first place was posting Fortnite videos on YouTube and getting copyright strikes. So I put my Fortnite monsters up, hoping to get discovered by the biggest gaming teams. I want to be a professional Fortnite player. And my videos always get copyright strikes. The music I was using was using like SZA, like Justin Bieber. It's like the music that you use to get views is very mainstream, pop and stuff like that. So TV algorithms to get more views. So it's kind of like I'm trying to upgrade my setup, trying to get better computers, better controllers, better keyboards. I can't get any of it because I'm not making money on YouTube anymore.
The story goes that he started down complaining to his mom about all his videos getting copyright striked, and she said, well, why don't you make up your own music? He did. He began